Good morning, good evening, and good night to all of you. My name is Sean, and this is Storm Cell. Today, I want to talk about something that I've always liked as a kid, and I really absolutely enjoy, which is the Power Rangers. Man, they came on when I was like in elementary school, and I continued pretty much mostly watch until today. Um, I've been through Mighty Morphin, Turbo, Zeo, which I know they flip flop, Space, Lost Galaxy, so on and so forth. I'm not going to sit here and name them all because just not. Um, my favorite of all time was Mighty Morphin because that's the one I grew up with, and it was just like it had some, even though it was a little bit cartoony, they had some awesome villains. Lord Zed and Rita were my absolute favorite villains because they were like really just, hey, we're going to like wipe you guys out. Lord Zed destroyed, I think, like two sets of the Megazords, and then like basically the command center. Sorry, tongue tied. Command center and was like, "Hey, you're gonna do as I say, or I'm going to like wipe you all out right here, right now." So because Kimberly had gotten captured at that point in time, which was the Pink Ranger. So they were like, "Okay, well, we'll play along until we can figure out a way to get out of this." Which, of course, they did. Power Rangers. Power the pen. no, uh, it was actually pretty cool. I do want to show you some things that I gotten that were from TFCon, but I know they're not Transformers, but they were there at the shops that I did shop at, and I was like, yes, gotta have, must get, right? I know we all have those moments where we're like, you see something like, hey, gotta have it, let's get, type deal. The first thing I want to show you is from the original Power Rangers series was the Megazord, and like I said, one of my favorites because he was the original Megazord of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series. And here he is, right here. I put him together maybe about a month or so ago. I love the sword because it's like a real plastic, and like it's the power sword, and it's so super cool. And then like of course you got like the saber-tooth tiger, the triceratops, and then of course the mastodon, um, the pterodactyl, and then the tyrannosaurus, which I don't know. I might do a video where I take them all apart and put them back together again. That might be at a later date for sure. Whoops, one of these pieces came off, so let me just pop that in right quick. Maybe. And there goes the other one. Ha! That's awesome, right? Yeah, but no, he is absolutely one of my favorites because of the fact that he is the original. I mean, he was just always super cool, and then I don't know. Every time he called the Power Sword, it was just like, hey, there's some things about to get real, and he's about to end it all like right then and there. Um, but yeah, as of course, as they go along, the Green Ranger came in, which was Tommy Oliver, which was played by Jason David Frank, sorry, JDF, and man, he just kind of like vamped up the show and just brought an element into it that just made it pop. And like I said, and he was like a fan favorite for like a lot of people. Coolest thing about it was actually I met him in person at the Morphicon, which was actually what last year sometime. I want to say it was in June, maybe. I went out to Pasadena, and man, he was a phenomenal guy to meet, and that's another thing I wanted to show you guys, which was another part of the Mighty Morphin series was the Dragon Zord, and I didn't take him out the box yet, simply because I had JDF sign it, which is super awesome. As I'm thrilled about. I thought about taking him out of the box just because I wanted to see him and combine him with the Megazord, but I'm like, no, no, this thing is just too super awesome. Which I could already take him out and just keep the box, but I don't know. I haven't quite decided yet, but man, when I found this, I was like, yay, super freaking awesome, right? No, but yeah, the Dragon Zord also brought its own element to the show, especially when they combined to the Dragon Megazord. That was awesome in itself. And yeah, no, you had the missiles, and then oh man, the Green Ranger, which was also what I want to show. Um, the Green Ranger, I had this guy. I bought him actually at the Morphicon, and then he had the flute and everything else. Which is, I didn't take him out because this is like a collection edition for me. So I am not planning on taking him out of the box anytime soon. But, he had the Dragon Dagger, which was like a flute to command and summon the Dragon Sword. So that was super cool. And every time he heard the flute, it's like, oh man, yeah, it's really about to get real now, yo. Um, but yeah, dude, this is really cool. I'm really glad to have this for sure. Um, yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna get rid of this guy. And then here's another cool thing about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series was Titanus. Uh, dude, this guy is huge, like massive, huge, like Titanus. Titanus came along later on in the series when I think it was the time that uh, Rita and Zed got married, and they would combine their powers, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we need help." So Zordon was like, "Hey, I got the Zord for you guys. It's the Ultra Zord, and now you can combine all three Zords to form the Ultra Zord." And I'm sorry, Titanus was a carrier Zord. He was a carrier Zord that formed into the Ultra Zord with all three, the Mighty Morphin, I'm sorry, the Megazord, the Dragon Zord, and Titanus formed the Ultra Zord, which if I ever find another Dragon Zord, which eventually I plan to, I'm going to put them all together and have the Ultra Zord sitting out, and I may have to do a video on that whenever that comes around for me to do so. I just gotta find the moolah to do that. I have another version of Titanus, which I thought was super cool, which I found, which is this black and gold one. It's like the see it's limited black edition, legacy edition. I thought this was super sweet. Um, I need to find the black and gold Megazord and the black and gold Dragon Zord. Wait, no, I have the Dragon Zord. I'm sorry. Actually, in speaking of the black and gold Dragon Zord, here he is. Oh, isn't that sweet, dude? How awesome is that? Like, dude, that I love the gold, outlook of him. Um, I do eventually plan on taking this one out. In Titanus, but I do want to find the black and gold Megazord first and put those guys together, which that might be another separate video when I do that. So that is a later on thing I want to do. Dude, look how sweet that is. Yeah. Then later on, after Megazord was destroyed and the Dragon Zord, I don't think the Dragon Zord was actually ever destroyed. I think from what I remember, from what I understand, Tommy sent the Dragon Zord back into the sea and basically was never heard again. If I'm wrong, then let me know. But as far as I absolutely remember, he was sent back to the sea and was never heard from again. I know in the comic books there was a point to where the Dragon Zord was broken down to create some kind of like Black Dragon Zord or some sort. Um, that was like he was decommissioned to put in parts of another Dragon Zord of some sort, Black Dragon or something. But I have to go back and look that up for sure. But like I said, I believe the Dragon Zord was just basically never heard from again, and which kind of sucked and was kind of sad because he was super cool, right? So after, like I said, the Megazord was destroyed and wiped out, the Thunder Zords came around, and the White Ranger came around because Tommy had lost his powers from the Green Candle, and every time he had to go into fight, he had to like borrow power from the other Rangers and borrow power from Zordon, and that was just temporarily where he could keep his powers. But then there was the point where it just absolutely faded out. So Zordon and Alpha 5. which is kind of funny. There was Alpha 5, so what happened to 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Kind of curious about what those were all about. But anyway, Zordon and Alpha 5 created their own Ranger, which I remember that episode. And then they chose Tommy to be the White Ranger, which I thought was super cool. And here he is. And I was like super excited to get that right, dude. How cool is that as well, right? Um, Tommy carried Saba. Saba was his own like living, talking weapon. Like he was super funny, and they always had the little banter of what they should do and how they should do things, and I thought that was super cool. And they commanded the White Tiger Sword, which was super awesome. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. I just thought it was cool to carry a sword, have him carry a sword like that. I mean, the sword's really flimsy and look like it's kind of bent right now, but that was cool. You know what? I am going to transform him for you guys quick because it's super, super easy to do. Huh. Oh, well, let's see. Maybe I wouldn't say it. I guess super easy wasn't the word. Cause I'm struggling a little bit, but it's all right. So yeah, man. Once the Tiger Zord came in, it was so clumsy and so funny looking. I was just like, oh, dude, that's awesome. And then he was powerful. Um, and then wait, here's his tail. So yeah, the Tiger Zord. Look how awesome that is, man. Super cool. He was just, he was super fun, super funny. It's funny. My cousins, when I was younger, had the Megazord, and I think also had the Tiger Zord, and I was like, man, I want one. And now that I'm old enough to buy my own toys, I bought them. Right? I know. I'm a dork. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Um, so yeah, he is one of my favorites. Like I said, it's super easy to transform. I mean, it's a few simple steps. I'm going to transform him back now because uh, why not, right? Oops, drop the tail. But yeah, man. I want to eventually. I didn't really like the Thunder Zords that much. They were okay. I did like the Red Dragon Zord, or the Red Thunder Zord, which was a dragon. He was pretty cool. Um, so I'm probably gonna get him so I can get the other pieces to create the Thunder Megazord, or with the White Tiger Thunder Megazord, whatever it was. I don't remember what it was called for sure, but because he has the face part for it, but I need to get the rest of the pieces to form that form that Zord, which is the the pink. It was a pink Thunder Zord, the Black Thunder Zord, the Blue Thunder Zord, and there was a couple of others. I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, but I want to get those other pieces of the Thunder Zord so I can create the White Tiger version of it, which I thought again was super super sweet to have. Um, After the Thunder Zords had fallen, it was the Shogun Zords, and the Shogun Zords were one. This one's actually one of my favorite swords. This guy is pretty cool. His sword is also flimsy, which I really don't like, but it is what it is. And look how massive this dude is, right? Man, he is actually one of my favorites, just because of how massive he was, and it was just kind of like, hey, one shot kill type deal. Um, I know this is pink, but in the actual series it was white. But hey, um, they did what they wanted to do instead of put pink instead of white, but it should have been white. But it's okay. It's still the Shogun Zord, I thought he was super fantastic when I got him. He does break down as well. Each the arms and the legs are their own swords. I'm gonna take off one of them right now so you can kind of see what it looks like. Uh, maybe I can figure out. Oh yeah, there it is. And then if I can remember how to do it. Oh yeah, his arms. Sorry, it's gonna take me minutes. I've only transformed him a few times, and so yeah. And look, these guys are massive on their own. So it was super cool that how these guys how tall they have their own individual weapons. I mean, I don't really have those out there. I've had them tucked away, but yeah, man, these guys are super cool. I take them apart. I take them apart every once and again, and just kind of have them stick around, and then I'll transform them back uh, into the Shogun Zord. Like I said, the Shogun Zord is one of my absolute favorites because he's just super massive, and I'm super massive, so we have something in common. But yeah, man, Power Rangers, bro. I don't really have any of the other Zords. If I do collect them, it'll be like later on in life, um, type deal. Also, you know what? Speaking of the White Ranger, which I forgot to show this as well, um, Saba. I have Saba, and Saba is actually pretty cool. Um, I enjoy Saba a lot. Uh, I haven't taken Saba out of the box because this is also going to be a collector's thing for me. I don't plan on taking him out at all. Um, like I said, if I do, it'll be a later on type of deal. But just him having him in this box is just super awesome for me. Um, yeah, man. And speaking of the also for the Thunder Swords, the Falcon Sword. This Falcon Sword is pretty freaking sweet. His mouth is open. I just have to make it open. Maybe, maybe. There it is. See, mouth opens. Rah. And his head moves. Dude, it's like he's gonna blast you away. Like, hey, give me all your money. No, the Falcon Sword was actually pretty cool when it came about. I thought it was super neat. And when the Thunder Zords or the Ninja Zords came in, and then they incorporated the Falcon Zord to the Shogun Zord, and that was made the Shogun Falcon Zord. I believe when they actually all combined, and then I think he was in the I think he was in Thunder, and then he was in Ninja. I don't remember which one came first, but yeah, it was just super cool. Um, it'll take me some time to kind of figure out, remember, but yeah, look, it's just super awesome, dude. Like, but yeah, man. And then after that, they like I said, they went from Ninja to I think they went into Ninja into Zeo, and then Zeo into Turbo, and then Turbo to Outer Space to Lost Galaxy to I believe um Lightspeed, Lightspeed. Uh, it goes on. I know Lightspeed, Overdrive, Mystic Force, Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder. There are many. And as you all know or don't know, maybe you don't know, uh, Power Rangers is the American version of Super Sentai, which is from Japan. What they did was take the stock footage from Super Sentai and put it into the American version, Power Rangers, and just used American or American-ish actors. I don't know where they're all from. They could have been from here. They could have been from wherever, and made them do things. Which I saw a documentary where they wanted to make show that. the characters to be able to fight on their own a little bit before they morphed and used the stock footage for the show, which I thought was super cool. How they did that. Um, I don't know how much of the other shows were from Super Sentai from Japan, but I know there was a few shows that, of course, that they did, stock footage from there and put here. I think I think they borrowed a lot of the stuff from Super Sentai to make the Power Ranger series, which I thought was super nice and just I don't know, it's really enjoyable. I know it's like for really kiddie and for kiddish themes and whatnot, but I mean, you got pe- young people, having the ability to morph to increase their strength and the ability to save the earth. Then they, pilot these robots to turn into like this huge, you know, robots type deals here. Like, I mean, who couldn't say that they don't want to, pilot a giant robot, right? So yeah, man. I don't have much to talk about right now. Like I said, comment below and tell me which one was your favorite Power Ranger series. And again, like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Again, this is Thundercell. I'm not Thundercell. I'm thinking Power Rangers. This is Storm Cell. Thundercell, which actually probably be a cool Power Ranger series. Um, oh, you know what? Before I go real quick, I have a theory or a fan fiction storyline. Like, Tommy, the Green Ranger, after being used as a Ranger, he trains with the Morphin Grid, and eventually becomes a Zordon like sage or whatever, and makes his own Rangers, and then has his Rangers, go fight evil. Which honestly, I think that would be a really cool storyline if it was if I did it this way, to have Lord Zed and Rita have a child that no one knew about, and then he goes and they send him off to like wreak havoc in another part of the universe, and then like he grows up to be like an evil wizard genius type destroying guy. Like later on, he like lives for a long time, and then yeah, the Tommy's Rangers and him go at it. It would be super cool, I think. But yeah, that's just my little thought on that. So until next time, I hope you all have a great, wonderful night, day, morning, evening, whatever it is, and where you're at. And until next time, deuces.